Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, residential and commercial roofing contractor to the stars. Well, pretty much everyone else who lives in the Omaha metropolitan area. Glad you've joined us. You're not going to find another show that is anything like this. We talk about buildings and construction, real estate, business expansion, Omaha getting bigger and more vibrant. Fun stuff. Great show planned as always. And without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host. You know him as Omaha's legendary real estate deal maker, the magician of properties, Trenton Magid.
Oh, keep going, Jeff. Keep
I know,
going.
your head's just
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
inflating with
It's
every
a
word I
beautiful
say.
Memorial Day weekend. I hope everyone got to sneak a peek at the Clydesdales and
Did
the
you-
Gold Star
did you go see them?
families. I was highly considering it. It wasn't the weather that kept me away.
You had one of your insurance conventions?
Hey, we need insurance convention people to listen to this.
All I know is every time I invite Trenton to come to like my house or like, hey, do you want to do this? He's like, no, thanks. I have an insurance convention to go to.
Or the gun club.
Or the gun club. At any rate, you've mentioned Memorial Day, and Memorial Day weekend, obviously, number one thing is to be thankful and mindful of the people who have sacrificed lives on behalf of our country. But we like to have a lot of fun during the 3-day weekend. And if I'm going to have a good time on Memorial Day, I might go to a lake. I might go camping. I might go to baseball games, which I do a lot of during Memorial
Baseball game
Day.
more likely for Jeff.
But I'd also go to Nebraska Crossing because there are
And he has been camping.
and there are amazing deals there. You can get merchandise from national brands that exist nowhere else in the state, and they always have that 15% cash back. I don't know why you wouldn't have that by now if you're a regular listener of the show. For crying out loud, we've been encouraging you to get it for 6 months. But if you still don't have the Nebraska Crossing app and the Fast Cash add-on, get your phone, get the Nebraska Crossing app, click Fast Cash, put in your credit card, and then always use that card when you buy things at Nebraska Crossing.
Don't cost nothing.
So let's go into our development news before we do that, we're going to bring on Jorge Sotolongo. Jorge is a frequent contributor to this show, has been for a few years, and is one of our colleagues at NAI NP Dodge. Good morning, Jorge.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a while since you've been on the show.
I know I've been busy.
Yeah.
You guys have been busy too.
I know. I keep talking and say, hey, I want to come on the show. You're like, I'd love to, but I'm kind of busy. So
You know what you two guys got that
What?
I don't have?
What?
A spot in the new NP Dodge commercial. I don't know if they're airing yet. We saw the previews.
I think it's supposed to air this
Weekend is when it starts. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, Jorge and I both have speaking parts, but Jorge's
These
part
are TV
is
commercials, ladies and gentlemen.
Jorge's part is a little bit longer than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made it to TV. You know, this was a great stepping stone. I appreciate it.
Now he's going to be too big for us.
Oh, yeah. You're,
Pretty soon, there'll be like on WWT, there'll be like Jorge's Corner or something like that,
social media jumper.
where you just like kind of talk about whatever it is that's on your mind, and people will consider it. You'll have a cult following.
Exactly. That's my dream. Always
That's
been my dream.
that's how they start.
Without any further ado, development news of the week brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. We know Eagle Mortgage, and Eagle Mortgage knows loans. And we've known Eagle Mortgage for quite some time. Trenton and Jorge and I know the Schneidewins who own it. Holly Schneidewin's the president, and they just do such an outstanding job. It doesn't matter whether you are doing conventional or you're going to go the FHA loan, VA loan route. They handle all of that. Really kind of take you by the hand, figuratively, of course, and really just kind of coach you, guide you, shepherd you through the process, work with you to get that pre-approval letter, which is so important during this competitive house buying environment in which we currently live. If you want to find them in person, offices at 114th and Davenport. They're also online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. All right, fellas, what's the fastest growing city in Nebraska most years over the last several years?
Greta.
You are correct. Ding, 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 ding. Do you realize that about a year from now, when you look at your Nebraska population growth statistics, that the 1-year growth rate for Gretna will likely be right about 100%?
Whoa.
Bring it on.
What happened, the Nebraska Supreme Court this week sided with the city of Gretna in its annexation legal dispute with Sarpy County. Back in 2017, Gretna wanted to do a very significant and aggressive annexation package. It included a lot of non-developed areas. So Sarpy County said, whoo, hoo, hoo, and they sued to stop it, got caught up in the court case. It finally got to its Nebraska Supreme Court crescendo, climax, if you will. And the Supreme Court says, Gretna, you win. And so now this means that Gretna will go from about 5,000 some people to about 10,000 people pretty fast.
Absolutely. And they couldn't be annexed by somebody else because, well, I don't know if they have like an interlocal agreement where the cities in Gretna or in Sarpy County can't annex each other.
Well, they have some general boundaries, like, for instance, on the east side of Gretna and on the west side of Papillion, it's my understanding that Interstate 80, which mostly runs north-south through there, is kind of a demarcation zone. So east side of I-80, which is where, say, 88 Tactical is located, that's Papillion. West side, where there's a Walmart, a Taco John's, Taco Bell, QT, that will be Gretna or future Gretna. But what's interesting, guys, if you look at the amount of land that would be either in Gretna or slated for Gretna, it's not unreasonable to think that by assuming Jorge lives to be an old man, and you're only like, what, early 30s?
Yep. 32.
By the time you like check out of this place when you're about 98, 99, Gretna will be like probably, 75,000 people.
Yeah, it'll be like just like a typical suburb that you find in a bigger city.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Mike Evans and the fine citizens of Gretna. That's pretty impressive, and that is the home of Nebraska Crossing.
Okay, next up on the docket, the governor signed a bill this week exempting military retirement income from Nebraska state income taxes. In my opinion, this was long overdue from an economic development perspective. It will generate a lot of money for Nebraska. We happen to have a major military installation with Offutt Air Force Base, and we have always said that military retirees are one of the best demographics a city could try to recruit. They retire fairly young. While they're in the military, they get all sorts of amazing skills. Military people go have an entire second career, and you want them to have that career here, especially with the talent shortage we have. Glad we did it. We probably should have done it 20 years ago.
Very excited about that, and they invest in real estate. They invest in new businesses. They're good to have around if there's ever any ruckus or hellions that want to cause public unrest. They have a unique set of skills.
Wait, so you say if a guy was like a mechanic in the military, he's got civil unrest skills?
Yeah. What would happen if like?
I think you're thinking like the former MPs.
Well, what if I need to change the tie rod ends on my Mustang or something like that?
Never know. Hey,
first I have to get a Mustang though.
Yeah, good point. If you read the newsletter this week, which we certainly hope that you are, you will have noticed that the big story was construction is now underway on the Dollar General massive regional warehouse and distribution center south side of Blair along Highway 75. About 2 weeks ago, I drove up there to take a photo of the site. And for one thing, the site is pretty darn big. It's 85 acres. It's not terribly far from the Blair Biorefinery campus. At any rate, this thing is going to be 800,000 square feet. Of that, 650,000 will be dry goods storage. 150,000 will be refrigerated, grocery, that sort of thing. But fellas, this
over $500,000 worth of inventory we hear. Dollar General.
Very funny.
Thank you.
Kaboom, ksh. He's here all week, ladies and gentlemen. So about 400 jobs, $106 million contribution to the metro area economy, and this will serve 1,500 Dollar General stores in this region of the country. But get a load of this. 75% of the United States population lives within 5 miles of a Dollar General store. And get a load of this. Dollar General now has more stores in the world than Walmart, Kroger, and Costco combined.
Wow.
Wow.
And get a load of this. 1 out of every 3 new stores of any kind, stripe, or variety that will open in the United States of America in calendar year 2021 will be Dollar Generals.
That's what we have to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen.
Have you ever even set foot in a Dollar General?
Yeah, I needed to get those, what do you call those, pool...
The noodles?
Floaties?
I get the noodles, but I wasn't using them for noodles.
I was going to say, you don't have a pool.
I announced it on here about a year ago. We use them, we round them up, and we put them in the big pots in front of our house so we don't have to put all kinds of potting soil or dirt in there.
Uh-huh.
And it's great for drainage, and they don't decay. So there's other uses for those pool noodles, ladies.
I thought you were going to.
And they're like $1 a piece at Dollar General. So they're going to have a huge run on pool noodles.
See, Jorge, when he started talking about buying pool noodles for non-pool uses, I was ready to hit the censor button.
Yeah, I was right. I was just waiting to see where that went, but it was kept it pretty clean.
Yeah,
you guys are a couple wet noodles.
He just gets me nervous when he starts to go down those rabbit holes like that. But I've been into a Dollar General one time, and it was in Gretna. We were driving by, and I think we wanted to get a soda or a Coke or something like that, and we stopped in the Dollar General. And I remember just walking around, and I was most impressed by the I don't know if I've ever seen more merchandise per square foot. I said that on purpose, on shelf space ever. I mean, they packed it in there, really packed it in there.
I think that there's some merchandise like candles or something that are ridiculously expensive at your usual retailers that you go there because candles don't have to be like $10 or $20. There, they probably have them for $1.
Okay, guys, we've talked about in the past how Warhorse Casino will be coming into the existing Horseman's Park complex. Of course, voters in Nebraska last fall approved casino gambling. And so we're going to have casinos here at the Warhorse. There will be one that's going to be under construction by Lincoln's horse racing track, and then as well like Grand Island and other places that have them. But this is kind of interesting. Warhorse Casino is requesting tax increment financing. That's on the planning board docket for this month, which is next week. And like pretty much all projects that request tax increment financing, they always say at the end, this would not be viable or feasible without TIF. I am calling BS on that. These casinos spent untold numbers of dollars in the campaign trying to get gambling approved, and now they're saying we won't be able to make this happen without TIF. I don't know if we could make it work.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, and we're not going to put Jorge on the spot because he's on the planning board, and we're going to keep him professional and unbiased and all that, but I am going to go on the record of saying, oh, come on. You mean to tell me you're not going to build this casino? Oh, we don't get TIF. Oh, sorry, we're out of here. No casino for you, Omaha. Bye.
But for TIF.
You guys should definitely come and give some public testimony. That would be very entertaining.
I might come just to watch.
I think you should.
Ultimately, I don't really care.
That'll be on our YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen.
I ultimately don't really care if they get TIF money, but I am calling BS on that one. And it'll be very fascinating to see and hear what kind of public testimony you guys get next week.
It will be. I'm trying to figure out how to stay very neutral in this conversation.
You're doing a very good job.
All right. Like one statement away from having to recuse himself.
Yeah, and we do not want any recusing going on around here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stop our Grow Omaha News of the Week now, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Jorge is going to stay with us for the whole show. Next segment, we're going to bring on Nick Bartholomew, local restaurateur and restaurant businessman. He is the founder of Bartholomew Restaurant Holdings. They have a lot of concepts. When Nick gets on here, we're just going to talk food and restaurants. It's going to be fun stuff. So stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid, and Jorge Sotolongo from NAI NP Dodge. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing. We love D&M Roofing because they take good care of Grow Omaha listeners like you. Doesn't matter whether you have a warehouse, office, building, shopping center, commercial property, or if you want to get a roof for your own house. They do all of that, and they're the best at it in the business, dndmroofing.com. We have Nick Bartholomew with us. Nick is a well-known and respected Omaha restaurateur, owner of Bartholomew Restaurant Holdings. Good morning, Nick. Welcome to the show.
How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Good. You know, there's really no subject that Trenton and I think I can throw Jorge in here as well, that appeals to us more than eating.
Good.
We are foodies, and we love a lot of your restaurants. Tell us the concepts you have around town.
Yeah, so I started 8 years ago with with Overeasy, the breakfast place in West Omaha on 168th and Q.
I can walk there from my house.
Oh, really? Good. Yeah. That's why we put it out there. I was a Millard West kid, and so we just have been in that neighborhood so long. We kind of knew that that's what would fit, and the drive-thru's been great. Even through the pandemic, I think we were able to service that neighborhood really well, and so I think we've, built some proper roots there. And then after that, we went and opened Market House in the former Vivace space in the old market. We bought
Which
that.
was awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we spent a lot of time and effort on that, and got some really good chefs there that have now gone on to open Au Courant, Saddle Creek Breakfast, and Sternella after Market House burned down. And then once we were picking up the pieces of Market House after the old market fire, I opened Dandelion pop-up to kind of showcase different chefs in town or not in town, to give them a platform to do interesting things or try something they hadn't tried before, and just kind of see where it goes. And we've just had a ton of fun with that, just meeting all the chefs in town and seeing the way that they prepare, seeing what they put out, on those pop-ups has just been awesome. It's
a good name for it because Dandelion spread.
Right, and that was the hope, right? That was totally the hope, is we could be anywhere. If you found a great location for us, Trenton, we would love, to just set up. And really, the industry we've found has been gearing up towards that. Like, we've gotten calls from landlords all over the city saying, hey, how about a month? You know what I mean? How about 6 months while we're looking to lease or sell or something, and just give us some action? And so I think Dandelion's really cool in that way because there is no boundaries, and we could find any chef in town that has the time to put something in. So we're really proud of the work that, that's gone on there.
Let's talk about that concept when you talk about pop-up restaurants. Now, there's a lot of restaurants that have been around, yours included, that have been around Omaha for a long time, and people, if they like a dish, one of your standard dishes, they want consistency, and there's a lot of restaurants that people just go back to and back to regularly because they know that they're going to get that same dish. How does that affect the pop-up restaurant? And define pop-up restaurant first.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a great question. So a pop-up restaurant in this case came around to us as an ability for someone to showcase a skill, you know what I mean? And generally it might have been even a number 2 chef in a kitchen that hadn't had that opportunity to really grow himself because he was always listening to the head man or listening to the same menu courses that he had, done for years and years. And so the pop-up idea was just to really allow some flexibility and some breathing room for these guys to spread, because you hope that somebody learns from someone else and then goes on to grow their own thing, and the culture grows within the community. And really, that's where my love of pop-ups came from. And so I like to see for one week, Paul Kulik from Bouillon came on and said, hey, we'd like to run crepes at the pop-up. Is that great? And I said, we'd love to have it. Why did you choose crepes? And he said he wanted to start doing brunch at Bouillon, and he didn't know how his customer base would feel about crepes since they had done other things, and it allowed him some of that flexibility to not do it on site, but, not take himself so seriously somewhere else and do some fun things and meet a customer base on a level. And so I think that's really been what we like the most about the pop-up, is it's given that
So how do people know what's going to be there? How do they follow Dandelion?
So we've been kind of adhering to the underground, mission statement a little bit. Once upon a time, we had a website.
Secret knock, password.
Exactly. White or the red, and we had a website, but we kind of felt like that kind of took us too mainstream a little bit. So now it's Facebook and Instagram, which is a good and a bad thing in lots of ways. But so for this week, for example, we had B&G on Friday. So we started announcing that last week and started teasing out pictures of things that B&G had and done before. And then every Thursday, the day before the pop-up, we announced whatever the menu is going to be. Even though we've teased out pictures of the food and people can kind of get a grasp of what's going on, they have to wait till Thursday to kind of have that build up. And then we started getting bigger, right? And the pop-ups are filled right now through October for this year, and generally they are. So Saturdays is kind of where things started to migrate into. And for example, tonight we have a Puerto Rican pop-up tonight that's doing dinner and Latin dancing down there.
We have Puerto Rican right here in the studio, actually.
Nice. Well, then you're going to know about the Ellie. Yeah, Ellie's tonight. And so she's a ton of fun. done.
Are you guys all related in Omaha? Or?
So
You guys
speaking
get
of,
together?
hey, Nick, you mentioned B&Gs, and so you're bringing that concept back.
Yes, sir. We've been really diligent about trying to find a location for it right now. We like that space or the area that it was in, right? So we've been looking between 72nd and Dodge to about 90th and Dodge and seeing what's going on with Crossroads. We talked to Salsaritas for a while. There was a spot on Cass Street next to the White Barn Bar that we put an offer in because we really like that area. And so we really want to add a drive-through, want to add more convenience to that, and just really give Omaha what they need in B&G, which is the access to it.
Now, are you still planning on putting a new restaurant downtown? Aren't you working on a new concept?
We the timing it has looked like it's not going to work out.
Okay.
But yes, we were working really hard to put something in the Indigo Hotel. But their deadlines were like June 1st, which is this weekend, and the construction really isn't done. And so one of the chefs that we had talked to was a guy from Alinea in Chicago. And so he was coming to Omaha. He was looking to make a name for himself, younger guy that I had met through travels and otherwise. And so he sat in on a few of those conversations, and we were getting further down the line. But you know how these things go. Timing sometimes just didn't work out. And so Indigo's, I think, not going to open until July now.
Oh,
And
okay.
then that kind of just didn't work out with the project we're trying with B&G and some other things. So we ended up having to back off on that a little bit. But it's always in the wings. So if there's some developers that have some time, we got some good connections with some guys.
Well, let's say I want to make sure we touch on your space in the old market. You said that you had the market house,
Yes, sir.
which was right there by M's Pub. It was destroyed in the fire, which was tragic because I was there twice in the short time you were open.
Thank you so
Loved
much.
it.
I was there 3 times.
Thank you.
you have ownership of that space.
Yes, sir.
And tell us about the new concept you have going there that is going in your space.
Yeah. So Gather is the new concept that's now taking over the Market House space. It's a gentleman who's been in and around Omaha for a long time. He was involved with the Seven Monkeys, the second generation of Seven Monkeys when they turned from Seven Monkeys to 7M. And then that gentleman went on and opened 2 restaurants in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, or Park City, Utah, I think maybe one in each, something like that. And then did well, called it Gather. And you'll be pretty surprised when you see that menu how similar it is to the Market House, right? So I think it's going to be a great fit. And those guys have done some beautiful work in there right now. They're sparing no expense. They have a greenhouse grow room type of thing in the basement where they're going to try to get some of their drink garnishes and some of the stuff that they need for the kitchen down in the basement. And I think that they're even thinking about having a table down there where you could go eat in the basement and kind of be around what they're doing and their process. So those guys have been excellent. They're really perfectionists. So I think once the restaurant is ready and open, you guys will be very, very impressed by the work that they've done in that room.
Now, you also, as we mentioned at the very beginning, have Overeasy.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that place.
Thank you.
What are the plans for Overeasy? Is that something that can grow, or are we just going to be happy with that spot?
So, we want nothing more than to grow. And we had signed a little bit of an agreement with the guys in La Vista at City Ventures to kind of bring City Center up and going. It got delayed because of COVID and some things, and ended up taking like 3 years. So that sort of paused out. We've been talking a little bit with Countryside Village, with the old Schwartz's Deli space, or the current Schwartz's Deli space. And we really like that community. We really love that area. We'd be giving up a little bit in the way of a drive-through in that case. But really, I think that the outdoor seating and stuff couldn't really make up for it. But we love that area, and we are looking for currently other places for Overeasy's. The funny part about that is the places we've looked at don't have a drive-through or something else. We've thought about maybe calling them over medium, you know what I mean, or over hard, and then kind of just dictating the concept in that way, how we, how it grows. But we're ready for more breakfast. I think, we've seen other breakfast places pop up with Pop-Tarts now, and so, we were the first to market with Pop-Tarts. I will state that here on the show, but we're happy that Omaha embraced it, and now other places are having success for it. But I think it is time for second generation Overeasy. So if there's any listeners that have a secret space for us, we're open to all calls.
We'll bring you in Overeasy.
Please.
Hey, we just got another minute with Nick Bartholomew of Bartholomew Restaurant Holdings, and I'm just going to let you go out of here with a broad question.
Cool.
And that is your thoughts on the state of the Omaha restaurant culinary scene right now, and where it's going to go over the next few years.
Gosh, what an awesome question. I think that foundation's been laid, right? I really appreciate the foundation that a lot of the people that came before us had laid, because I don't think Omaha would have been able to be what it is now without that. And I look at Lincoln and kind of compare to Lincoln that I don't think Lincoln's laid much of a foundation in the way of a culinary talent, although they have great places. There's no really growth happening there that started with one person or three people and then kind of has built on itself. That was really the hope for Dandelion. The Dandelion hope was if you needed a platform, because I know as a young man it was hard to get into the Overeasy situation when a hood costs $75,000 and a bank doesn't believe in you, And so Dandelion in this case was produced and created so that people can step into that, say, here I am, this is what I do, is there interest out there in what I do? So we really hope that from what we're seeing in Dandelion and the young budding chefs and young budding startups can come through there and really try a hand at what Omaha can be and what they really like and get that feedback directly so it can grow. But I do believe we're on the right track. I think that it's, pardon the pun, but it's a hungry business right now because coming out of a pandemic, the numbers are starting to get great. We're having trouble finding people, so that's interesting, but that's only temporary. And I think that with help with people like Trenton and some imagination, the places that can be restaurants, the sizes have changed. Like when we were talking 10 years ago, I bet Midtown Crossing, when they were doing Loft 610 in those places, those were 3,000, 6,000 square foot spaces. Anymore, that really isn't sustainable and for lots of reasons. So I think that creativity is going to rule the day here within the next 5 to 6 years, and people are going to find interesting ways to make it work in interesting spaces and really grow the neighborhoods in Omaha. And I think we're starting to see that bud now. So I'm excited and I'm hopeful for where we're headed, and I think it's great.
If you question Nick's energy and view on the restaurant scene, go to the Omaha Food Lovers page on Facebook with 60 or 70,000 members. It is an amazing page.
It is.
Yeah, we love that place. And Nick, we could talk restaurants all day, and we're going to sign you up for one of our long form online only interviews here.
Oh,
sometime
wonderful! Thank you very much.
And go
Love
deep
to be
on
back.
it.
Cool.
Okay. All righty. Nick.
Go
Bartholomew.
Gladiators, by the way.
Yeah, this man is a youth baseball coach.
He sacrificed today.
His team is playing right now, and while answering questions on here, he's also glued to Game Changer, seeing how his kids are doing.
That's right.
Coach, we'll let you get back to the game.
Thank you so much, boys.
All
Appreciate your time.
Nick Bartholomew Restaurant Holdings. When we come back, Trenton and Jorge and I are going to do like 2 lightning rounds. We're just going to talk about a lot of stuff. And so you want to stay with it. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid here, along with Jorge Sotolongo, NAI NP Dodge. Also brought to you by D&M Roofing. Jorge is a member of the Omaha Planning Board, and that's where we get a lot of our news. We look at the Omaha Planning Board documents. And
Only the public information.
Jorge, last month there were a couple interesting projects.
Yeah, there was 3 that kind of stood out to me, and one of them is Blackstone East. I don't know if that's going to be the final name, but it's going to be the 9-story mixed-use building there, 20,000 square feet of commercial, about 161 apartments above. And this is kind of exciting. I think 400-plus parking garage, 400-plus stall parking garage that's going to be there. They're going to build it. The developer's going to build it in the building on, I think, the 2nd and 3rd floor above the retail, and then they're going to condo it off and sell it to the city. So actually, we're going to get more parking. We're going to fill that big empty surface lot that's just west of the Blackstone Hotel, Cottonwood Hotel, and it's going to be a really, really big, good urban infill right there.
Yeah, I think Benson should take a lead from that parking garage.
100%. That's actually what I was going to kind of dovetail. This is Benson could probably do the same, and this could be kind of a model for how you get that done in these urban districts.
And it's not an inexpensive proposition, but it's certainly something that would be welcome, because when I go to Akron or some of those restaurants over there, the first thing I think about, oh gosh, I got to leave early to get parking.
Exactly. And we might have to change our perspective in Omaha about walking a couple blocks, and that will happen eventually. But it does need parking for sure.
What else was on the docket?
We had also the beginning of the UNMC expansion. It's starting with the Saddle Creek campus, so it's just on the west side of Saddle Creek. What is that building? It's like that steel building along the rail.
It was called Omaha Steelworks.
Omaha Steelworks. So it's that whole site. It's a large
castings,
site. Totally going to be redeveloped. They're going to comply with the new TOD zoning regulations, so it's going to be really pedestrian friendly. There's going to be trails. It's actually going to connect the Field Club Trail all the way to Elmwood. So it's actually going to add a lot of connectivity to the
For
urban
walkers and bikers.
core there for walkers and bikers. I mean, this is like up to 10-foot sidewalks is what this TOD zoning can call for at times.
TOD is transit-oriented development.
That's right.
Okay.
And so that's really exciting. I think it's just that first sign that the UNMC expansion is happening, and it's going to be really substantial.
It's real.
Literally billions
real.
of dollars worth of development.
It's
down
here,
there.
and it's going to be, I think, probably the most historic development in Omaha's history, potentially.
Yeah, certainly the biggest when you put all of the pieces of it together.
The last one I was going to share was just an update on Avenue 1, 192nd and Dodge. That's a big mixed-use development right there where you see, part of it was done by R&R Realty. They've got their big office, Class A office, really true Class A, beautiful building. And then there's going to be mixed-use retail, kind of an urban dense environment in West Omaha. They had an out-of-town developer called Timberland Partners come in. I don't know if you guys saw the renderings for the multifamily development that they're doing there.
I did.
They're really nice looking, modern farmhouse style, horizontally opposed, multifamily development that I think is quite unique, and I think it sets the development apart a little bit as this more local community sort of connected.
So it's low rise?
Neighborhood. It's a little bit low. Yeah, it's low rise. Some of them are buildings with 8 to 12 units on them or more, but then some of them are smaller, garage on the first floor, but they look like homes. They look like modern farmhouse.
Yeah,
And I thought it's really a good concept.
that's going to be a fun project to watch over the next 10 years because there's so much land.
Yes.
And the quality level is going to be really high. The infrastructure improvements that have been largely completed already through there look really nice.
Well, they really they really invested a lot up front to do that, and they thought it was really important. And I just want to commend the team out there they're partnering with a lot of good people and a lot of interesting people to make the development stand out. And that's what you need in a sea of mixed-use developments that are all kind of competing with each other, and you got to kind of differentiate yourself a little bit.
All right, fellas, we're going to make the final break of the day. And when we come back, it'll be the lightning round brought to you by Turner Construction. We got a few news items, and then Trenton and Jorge, and I've got a few other things. So stay with us. It's all good. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. Back in a moment, News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show, Grow Omaha. And this is the lightning round, which is sponsored by Turner Construction. Turner Construction, with over 150 full-time employees in the Omaha area, is building for the future. And this is the number one builder nationally when it comes to healthcare, commercial, education, and pharmaceutical manufacturing. Turner Construction is continuing to grow and really engage our local community and organizations as big-time true partners, doing all sorts of amazing projects. We've talked to you about the big Sarpy County data center that they continue to work on. But beyond building spaces, Turner Construction is investing in Omaha and the surrounding communities through active involvement in more than 30 community organizations. Turner Construction is your sponsor of the Lightning Round. A couple quick news items for you before we open it up for a little more discussion. Chicago Dog 42 is planned for the Oakview Mall, quick serve restaurant serving presumably Chicago dogs. De Leon's in Council Bluffs going to open up a store at 1201 East Pierce in a former Maxi Walker store. Real small space, so kind of a drive-through with just a table or two to sit in. The Bravo Italian Kitchen at Village Point is now going to open in June. We were originally thinking May 20th, but sign on the door now says opening in June. Construction, at least dirt work, has started on a tidal wave auto spa northeast of 120th and Dodge. Fairway has opened another store at 132nd and Fort, 21,000 square feet. Looks really nice. And a reminder, Cupcake Omaha opens today in the Capital District. And remember, anyone who mentions Grow Omaha gets a free cupcake.
Sweet, literally.
Trenton, I sampled a Cupcake Omaha cupcake last
Yep, another
week.
event related to the show that Jeff didn't invite me to.
Oh, yeah, this is the thing. By the way, if you send items to news@growomaha.com,
Jeff does not pass them along.
I get them. So, like, if you're a public relations person that wants us to know about a new restaurant and you send like 6 cupcakes from Cupcake Omaha or whatever, don't worry. I eat them. Trenton doesn't even know about them.
It's part of my diet apparently.
So there you have it. By the way, speaking of news at Grow Omaha, if you don't get the newsletter and you want to get it, just send us a note at news@growomaha and say newsletter, and we'll add your email.
News@growomaha.com, but also add us to your Outlook contacts in order to make sure it doesn't go through your spam filter.
So Jorge Sotolongo with us, our colleague at NAI NP Dodge and frequent contributor to Grow Omaha, mentioned that Jorge is a member of the planning board. I saw something interesting looking at your agenda coming up for this week. The old O'Keefe elevator building proposal calls for some condos in there. This is just a little bit west of the old market.
I'd been hearing about these. I'm glad to see it's going to be on there. I think it's, wasn't it 19 residential condos, I think?
Yeah.
Some commercial space underneath. I mean, it's going to be great. I'm excited. That area is actually really nice. You know, it's still cobblestoned, and I think it's long overdue. I mean, that building's pretty interesting. So
It was a cool building when it was O'Keefe.
yeah, I mean,
They totally
it is.
remodeled it like 20 years ago.
I'd never been in there. You been in there?
Yeah, I've been there, but it's been several years.
Nice.
Pretty cool place. You know, I think when the 3 riverfront parks are completed, or at least partially completed, it's going to be interesting to see the type of development that pops up along those, because people don't necessarily realize this, but you can shoehorn a lot of buildings on the perimeter of those parks.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And there's going to be a need for condos. There's going to be need. I mean, I think people are going to want to own residential real estate downtown once these parks are done.
You know, it's kind of interesting when Trenton and I started the show in 2004. When we talked about residential downtown, it was condo, and more condo. All anyone talked about,
right.
Condo. But it was all renovating old buildings like the B.B. Runyon and the Kimball Lofts.
Nobody
and all
thought
those
about
places.
building ground up besides the
Yeah.
riverfront.
And then it switched, and then condos died downtown, and then it was apartments. And now, I agree with you. You're starting to see talk about condos coming back in downtown. I still maintain it's only a matter of time, even though we have tons of awesome condos that were built at Midtown Crossing.
And no full-service grocery store.
It's only a matter of time until I think you see a very tall, built from the ground up condo building downtown, or at least a building that's partial condo, maybe some office or something.
It was tried with Wall Street Tower, but it never happened.
Right. We need a skinny tower, just like, you know, next to Central Park in New York City.
Yeah.
There you go.
Skinny
Those-
condominiums.
Those little skinny condo towers they're building in New York are amazing. They're like 1,000 feet tall.
It's like everybody gets a corner unit.
Yeah.
It's
You get a
super
corner
cool.
unit. You get a corner unit.
Exactly.
Jorge, you're a big fan of South Omaha. You live there. Anything new going on in South O these days? Or I mean, sorry, South O these days?
South O is, as usual, just buzzing. And, you know, I know of a lot of different projects. I'm either involved professionally or just know about them personally. And I think development, you're gonna still see a lot of development. People are still trying to buy up ground and trying to buy up buildings and redo them. And so the development activity is great. Small business activity is great. I've got several listings now. I have showings all the time. People are, and it's people from
You
the
want to
community.
see him? Call Trenton Maggot.
Exactly. Call Trenton. He's my personal assistant on my South O listing.
Yeah, he supports you.
Boy, after 27 years, I finally made it.
You totally set yourself up for that one.
I will say though, you know, if you guys want
I'm
to
not bilingual
come to
like
Cinco de
Jorge.
Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is now officially Once de Junio, which
El
is
11 de Junio.
June 11th. I think so. Cinco de Mayo parade and celebration is going to be June 11th down there. Come check that out. The other thing I'm going to shout out, John Sullivan, president of the Downtown Rotary Club in Hal Dobb, and we're actually starting a South O Rotary chapter.
Really?
Nice.
Hal wanted some help doing that, and I said I would. Cesar Garcia and I are both the founding members of that.
How cool.
And so
Cutting edge. I didn't know that.
it's going to be fun. I mean, at first I wasn't sure, and then we really, it's been hitting the ground running, and we're going to get a lot of people. If you're a South O business person and you want to be involved,
My dad was from
it's going
South
to be a
O,
great
so-
group.
And that's it. Music's playing. We're done. Jorge, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Our colleague Jorge Sotolongo. That's it for this week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.